Hi everybody, it's Stephanie with Trillium Tarot. Before I forget, because I always forget, please do give the video a thumbs up because it does help the channel. As you can see, I have two furry, they're not really even supervising, so I don't know if I can call them supervisors, but two of my three cats are sitting here napping right next to me. I recently went to a local gem and crystal show. And I had shown Johnny one of the purchases that I made, and he was like, oh, holy crap. So I figured I would do a brief video about some of the things that I picked up at that show. I know that the whole theme of the website is supposed to be tarot, but I decided I can kind of expand it to other metaphysical interests if I darn well want to. So I'm going to start out with the big item first while I'm on my main laptop camera. And then I'll switch to my little document camera thing that I use for my deck reviews. So we're all used to little pieces of selenite like this to cleanse and I guess clean up your tarot deck or anything else because it's a really positive energy to clear any negativity away. So this was my last purchase of the day at my gem show. Take a look at this thing. This is the biggest piece of selenite I have ever seen. It's probably at least 1.5 feet long or really close to it. And then when you look at the end, it's probably 4 inches by 4 inches or 5 inches on that peak there. So that's the big thing I got. Now, some of these other items, I don't necessarily know all the metaphysical reasons or properties that they have. However, let me switch to my other camera. However, I've been collecting stones and crystals and gemstones and such for several years now. So I think that I picked some good ones that you might be interested in. I'm trying to adjust I should have probably planned ahead and done a test with lighting and so on. But here we have something called Aragonite, Aragonite. And it's kind of hard to see against this purple background, but this is actually a brownish tinged crystal. And this particular stone, I had a smaller piece that I picked up several years ago, but this is a piece that's bigger, as big as the palm of my hand. We're pretty close to it. And I really like this one because it has, you can see the middle of the stone here, and then crystals are growing out both sides. So we have crystals growing out of the bottom and the top. So there's one item. I am a sucker for sweet little quartz crystals. Oh my gosh, that lighting is terrible. This might not be the best way to show you this little quartz crystal or quartz cluster. It's not really a true clear quartz. I think this could probably qualify as a lightly smoky quartz cluster. I apologize for the bad lighting and it's not the best visibility on that. Here we have some ocean jasper, and it has been polished into kind of a wand shape, I guess. It fits nicely in the palm of the hand. I have a couple of, they're not towers. I have some freeform, I guess, ocean jasper, as well as polychrome jasper, oh God, I need to look it up. Anyway, they both come from Madagascar. One of them comes from the ocean, which is this one, and the other one is very similar colors, but it comes from a mine nearby, but it happens to be on land. It's like a mile or two away. So I find it interesting that there's different shapes in the stone itself, depending on whether it was found in the ocean or on land. This is kind of an interesting piece. And again, I wonder, let me try turning this. I turned on my extra light because I thought more light would be better, but let me try and turn that off. No, not quite. So let's try this. All right, now let's try turning this one back on. I don't know. Well, regardless, This is a piece that has some really tiny, tiny little individual crystal shapes in it, as well as multiple types of stone. And you can see on the piece of paper that came with it, the black in this piece is sphalerite, the gray is galena, some other gray is pyrite. Quartz obviously is white or clear, and something I've never heard of, realgar, is the red. So we have multiple, like here's some red on the end here. I just really like unique pieces. I have a couple of different smoky quartz clusters. I love smoky quartz. And some of these I believe are natural, but then there's other pieces, like these two were not labeled. However, this smoky quartz is so dark, it leads me to believe that it might be in the same situation as this one that I'm holding in my hand. When I grabbed this, I was just like, oh, smoky quartz, it's cool. However, when I looked at the box here, it's not going to translate very well to the camera. It's irradiated quartz in order to make it this really dark color. So this one for sure is irradiated quartz. I still grabbed it because I love smoky quartz clusters, but the dark color on this guy and some of the darker pieces on this stone lead me to believe that this one may have some kind of treatment as well. Although when I look at this one, some of the points are darker, but there's also some more clear stuff here. Regardless, I really like it. I got a couple of sweet little tiny ammonite pieces. I think I have probably about 8 of these things, 10 of these things now. I love these. Bismuth. The nice lady at the table where I bought this bismuth, she was really informational. She said that bismuth itself is not found individually in nature. As an element, it's always attached to something else. So when you find bismuth in a form like this at a gem show or at a rock shop or whatever the case might be, somebody has taken that element and they've grown it in a lab. So this specific piece is labeled as made in Germany. It's not showing up on the camera very well, unless it shows up better on the actual recording. But I like bismuth simply because of the color changes and, the square structure. It seems very futuristic to me. This piece, when I was looking at the table and talking to the gentleman that ran this table, I was like, well, that looks like just a clear quartz, but it's covered in rust. And he said, it sounds silly, but that's exactly what it is, because whatever the earth was or whatever was surrounding this, it is clear quartz, but it has hematite in it, which makes sense because hematite is iron, basically. So it makes sense that it would turn more of a rusty color. And I need to do some research on this to make sure that he just wasn't blowing smoke. when I was thinking about purchasing this, but I don't think I've ever seen like an orange quartz like this, especially with little baby ones growing on top of it. Kind of interesting. This piece is a fossil coral. And these days you have to be really careful when you buy coral, because we've all heard the stories about coral reefs and how they're being decimated and destroyed and such. I bought this one because it is a fossil. It's not living coral. I do have a couple of pieces of coral that I went ahead and bought simply because I purchased them at a rock shop that I frequented several times in the past, and I've gotten to know the owner and how concerned she was about sustainability and so on. And I may show the coral or share the coral in a future video, but this is a fossil coral. Let's see. This one is kind of interesting. It's a bigger piece. Let me move my camera back a little bit, and I'll just hold my hand next to it just so you can compare. So it is a bigger piece than what I've been showing you. This one is, if you look at it, you see these red spots in the top and on the bottom. So the reddish piece, or the reddish sections in this rock is garnet. And this whole piece itself is garnet in Fuchsite schist. And apparently schist is the type of the stone. I need to do some research on that. I do absolutely love combination stones like this. And this, the way that the light hits the different striations and so on in here, it's absolutely beautiful. But that's kind of a cool one that I had not seen before. A couple more things to show you. I got some little baby amethyst points, which are always good to have. And second to last item is this. There's a gentleman, and it turns out he's not very far from where I live, but he makes these little holders out of rock. I mean, you can see that this is an agate slice, and it has these little three triple legs, for lack of a better term. So you set your bigger rock on top of that, and it's a holder for various types of stones. Oh my goodness, I didn't grab my thunder egg. Let me grab that. All right. I didn't have to go far, but I do apologize for having to pause for a second to grab my thunder egg. The reason that even came to mind is the gentleman that makes these little stand-up things is also the booth that I bought this thunder egg from. And this mine is closed now. It's Baker something or other mine in New Mexico, I believe. But thunder eggs are a specific type of geode, and this one is unique because it has smoky quartz in the middle, and it's considered to have eyes with these little, I don't know if they're inclusions or holes or vision spots or what they're called, but it is the whole unit. You know, the slices are polished, so it doesn't fit together precisely, but I really like these thunder eggs. And then when you set them on this stand-up holder, it's a really nice display. Now, the final thing I'm going to show you is something I've never seen before. I am a huge fan of malachite with azurite, and I have a few pieces. I'll try and put together some videos of already existing pieces. Malachite is a green stone, azurite is a blue stone, and both of them are just gorgeous. This is something I have never seen before. This is velvet malachite. And I don't know what makes it velvet. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. You can see it has, it's not really, it's not quartz crystals. It is not, like you can see the feathers almost in seraphinite. It's not like that. It's like a formation that I have not seen before. But if you could see it in person, you would see that it refracts light beautifully. Good God. Holding it in my right hand and trying to adjust my camera with my left hand. Sorry. So this is what, it's not nearly as big as that giant chunk of selenite that I showed you. But this is one of my new prizes. Since it's a green stone, I'll have to be really careful with it because stones that are green in color tend to be green because they have some copper in them. So there can be some level of toxicity involved. You never want to put a green stone in water to like infuse it with the energy of the stone. But yeah, I do have one more thing to show you. I had a feeling that I was forgetting something. Zoom out on my camera here. I got these two gorgeous little hand-carved ravens. And I believe these were made in Peru. You can see the detail on the feathers. And I happened to get two that had purple eyes, but this vendor had some that had little blue stone or blue eyes and yellow eyes as well. But I got these two because when I set them so they seem to be facing forward, they're facing each other, or I can set them the other direction. I like these because they make me think of the Morgan, and I can have one here next to my desk and one next to the bed. I asked him if this was obsidian or if it was onyx. And I believe he said that these are onyx, that obsidian has more of a glassy type sheen to it, which I see a lot of sheen as I'm looking at the reflection of the light on these carvings. I'm seeing a lot of sheen on these too, but supposedly these are onyx. Regardless of what the stone is, these are absolutely beautiful and they have a lot of significance. So I hope you enjoyed the show and tell. Sorry, this video got longer than I expected, but I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.